Hi everybody and welcome to my channel. In this episode I'm going to be talking about a new breed of criminal or a new breed of prisoner. And what I mean by this is I've seen a lot of videos on TikTok as well lately, and a lot of people, especially myself and other podcasters, when they talk about prisoners in the high security estate, they always refer to the ones of decades ago. I was in there over a decade ago in HMP Franklin, and I've spoke about a few prisoners on my channel. But these prisoners, when I was there, who I'm referring to as a new breed, or referring to the new breed, the old breed were in the 40s, 30s, 40s, some of them in the 50s when I was in there then. So, as you can imagine, prison is like a revolving door. There's people going into the high security estates year after year. Some of them are getting moved on. But in this episode, when I'm talking about a new breed of criminal or a new breed of prisoner, I'm not going to mention any names because the majority of them, I don't know the names. Like I've mentioned, it was over a decade ago when I was in there, and I know a lot of them have moved on. Some of them have down into category Bs, category Cs, and they're no longer in the high security estate. And the new breed of prisoner has come in and they're taking over the prisons, and they're the ones that's now got the names. And a lot of people are still talking about the past and referring to the ones that are in there now. But the ones that were in there, that had the names, that were not so much running the prisons, but had the biggest names in the prisons, the biggest names in the high security estates, the likes of, there's only two that I can think of or that I know of that are actually still in the high security estates or the high security prison, which everyone will have heard of and everyone refers to and everyone knows about him, is Warren Slaney. But I believe Warren Slaney is still in the segregation unit, and that is because throughout his time in prison, he's been in prison 30 odd years, and Warren is getting on now. He's getting into I think he's in his 50s now. I should have had a look before I'd done the video, but I believe he's into his 50s. It could even be approaching 60. But what I'm trying to say is he's still in the segregations. He's been in prisons 30 odd years, so he's roundabout, or he's coming up to 60-year-old. So the likes of Warren, he probably doesn't even want the title of that anymore. People, when they get to that age, and Warren is, I believe, what I've heard and what I've seen, is innocent. Warren was stitched up. Warren's fought his way throughout the prison system, and he's actually bitter. He's bitter in prison, but as you can imagine, if you were in prison fitted up for 2 murders that you didn't commit, then you're going to be bitter. But Warren's got rivals in prison, and what happens is these rivalries get passed on down the generations, even the ones he had rivalries with in the past. The new breed of prisoner who's coming in is taking on these rivalries, and the new breed of prisoner doesn't give a monkey's who the old generation are or who they were. The new breed of prisoner is coming in, is wanting to get that name, as wanting to be the next Warren or the next Charles Bronson, and they'll do anything they can to get that name and get that reputation. And there's hundreds of them. People only ever hear of the ones that get spoken about either in mainstream media or on the podcasts or on channels like myself, but there is prisoners in there that are more dangerous than the likes of Charles Bronson. But Charles Bronson shouldn't even have that title anymore. He's got the film out about him. And yes, he was a dangerous inmate. He was a dangerous prisoner. He probably still is, a bit volatile. But the likes of Charles Bronson and Warren Slaney are moving on. They probably just want to get out of prison, move on with their life, spend the rest of the time with their families. But again, they're still category A prisoners, and they're not going anywhere soon. But the new breed of prisoner that is actually in there now wants that new title. They've got 30-year tariffs, which means they're doing life with a recommendation of 30 years, 40 years, and these are the new Warrens, these are the new Charles, these are the new breed that are coming in and taking over the prisons and wanting that name. But the other person I was going to mention, who the only one that I know is that there's Warren and Colin Gunn, and I believe Colin Gunn, the last I heard, is still in Long Lawton, Category A, high risk, which he has been for nearly 20 years. And Colin's got a massive name in the system as well. But again, Colin isn't one of these that goes around wanting that name in the system. He's got that name because of who he is. He's notoriety. He's notoriety from the outside. Obviously, that follows you into prison. But again, the new breed of prisoner is coming in. And Colin is one of those that's always getting on with these prisoners. He gets on with everyone, Colin. I've not known Colin to have beef in the high security prisons. He gets on with a lot of them. So Colin will be pals with all these new breeds that's coming in. And the only reason I'm mentioning this or talking about this type of video is because everyone's always referring to the old style or the old time breeds. And when the title suggests, when it says a new breed of criminal or a new breed of prisoner, a lot of people will probably be thinking I was referring to that new film that's not long been released that was made up in the Northeast. But even that, the title of that, a new breed of criminal, that they're not new breeds, they're the old breed. The new breeds are the ones that's coming in and taking over now. So that was why I was mentioning this in this episode, because again, when I've had a look at a lot of these TikTok videos lately, a lot of them are gangbangers from down London, and they're all in the pads rapping away. Sometimes there's like 10 of them in the pad, and a lot of them are in for murder, doing 20 odd wrecks, 30 wrecks, for shootings, for gangbangs, for drive-bys, and they're in these pads rapping about what they've actually done. No remorse, not bothered about what they're in for. They're actually bragging about it, rapping about it in these videos that they're making on TikTok. And these are the new breed of prisoner. They're actually more ruthless than what the old breed were, because they're coming in and they've just got no sense of direction. They're wanting that name. They're wanting to be the next biggest gangster. They're wanting to be the next big thing in the high security prisons. And that's exactly what is going to happen. These new breed are taking over from the old breed, and the old breed, I'm not mentioning me and Colin here, but the old breed, or the older ones that did have the name, the ones that are still in there, need to be watching the backs, because the new breed of prisoner will not think twice about trying to take them out just to get that name for themselves. But I think I'll leave that one there for now, people. Hopefully you find that interesting. It is a little bit different to what I normally do, but I just wanted to put it out there to let people know about this type of new breed that's coming into the prisons. And like I say, they're forming gangs in prison. There's not just one or two of them. They've got a lot of them have got the high security prisons on lockdown, because when they're forming gangs now inside a prison, and especially in the high security state, I'll refer to the Muslim gangs, because they're the biggest gang in the high security estate, and they've actually got the stronghold on the prisons, the high security Cat ones, the likes of Whitemore, Frankland, Long Lawton, Full Sutton. All of these high security prisons are more or less overrun with the Muslim gangs, who all stick together, and they're the ones that people need to be wary of, because, like I've mentioned, they're all stick together, and it doesn't matter if they get shipped from one dispersal to the next, so they don't cause trouble in the one that they're in. They've got friends in every high security prison throughout the country, the Muslim brothers, and you can't go anywhere without if you've got Rick, what I'm trying to say is if you've got Rick means if you've got beef with these type of prisoners, then you're going to become unstuck at some point throughout your sentence in these prisons, because they're all stick together and they're all in every single high security prison in the UK or in England. But I'll leave that one there for now, people. Hopefully you're enjoying the content, but remember to comment, like and subscribe. Take care, everyone.